So today I had about an hour to spend with Promise, and I thought that I would just revisit some of the stuff that I did on Friday. This time I'm working in the big bull pen, or the big round pen, just to have a little more space. I saddled up Promise in an adult size saddle today, and it has stirrups on it, and the flaps were flappier, and Promise was having a little bit of a problem with it, so I thought, well, let's let her move her feet and get that out of her system before we do anything else. And she wanted to stop in the area in the bullpen that, she could see her mom on the hill. And so I just wanted her moving her feet, feeling those flaps flap. I did take the stirrups off because I thought, there's no need for a big explosion today. But just thought, well, let's just get the humpiness out of her and let her move her feet a little bit and just kind of get over it. So I wasn't interested in wearing her out going around the round pen. When she started paying attention to me again, I just went ahead and haltered her up to get on with the lesson. I thought today I would spend my time reviewing our groundwork with me standing on the stool, letting her see me up higher. You can see she's not too sure about me being up on the mounting block. This isn't the first time I've done this, but it has been a while. And it's all about repetition with these horses and consistency. And when you're inconsistent, you have to go about it knowing that you're going to take maybe a step back. And then, of course, we're running back into our problem of not wanting to turn left and continue on to the right. And it's a theme you'll see throughout the work today. She just kept getting stuck that direction. She was a little more reactive that direction. So again, it's just something I have to keep working on. So you can see that she's just walking. I don't care if she trots. I would prefer actually for her just to walk. Here she got a little excited. She decided to trot. I didn't ask her for that. I'm not really interested in wearing her out or, having wear and tear on her legs and joints. So I would prefer her to just walk. But if she feels like she needs to move her feet, then I guess she has to move her feet. Here I'm trying to ask subtly for that turn, and I end up having to tap her on the neck. On Friday I didn't use a stick. I was just using the rope. And I haven't used a stick a whole lot with her. And I realized I needed to sensitize her to that, because she's not very used to it. And she was a little bit jumpy about it. Not bad, obviously. So that turn to the right to continue to the left is getting pretty good. But this one, not so much. So I thought, well, let's just practice turning back and forth. Doesn't really quite want to stop her feet that direction. Especially not this direction, but it's getting there. Again, I had to tap her on the neck. You should never put your arm over your head like that, by the way. She could have pulled my arm out of socket. That was a bad move. You should not have done that. You could do that behind your back, not over your head. And trying to do it loosely, trying to do it on a long lead, doesn't work. Try to bring her in a little closer, get a little more control, doesn't work. Have to go in, get her closer, tap her, tap her, tap her, there it goes. Sometimes it feels like it gets way worse before it gets better. And there's the fail Friday, except it's not Friday. Horse pulls backwards, pulls me off balance off the stool. Go ahead and laugh, it was kind of funny. Could have been more funny if I fell on my butt, but I didn't. She really wanted to come in to me, so I let her come in and I pet her. And here I thought, oh, well, I'll rub her with the stick. And you can see she just is not into that. And I thought, oh, well, this isn't really what I was planning on doing today. So let her kind of walk that out, and then we're just going to drop the stick and move on. I had the big saddle on today. I had the stirrups on, took them off. I wanted to put some weight in that saddle, both by leaning over her back and stepping into the stirrup today, just to revisit some of that stuff. I don't think I've laid on her back with a saddle on. I've laid on her back, bare back, and I haven't put any weight in the stirrup. So here I'm just kind of laying on her and rubbing her, patting her, reaching over, and she's totally cool with that. You know, one of the things about being handled off and on since she was a baby is that she just has been handled a lot and hugged on a lot, and she's, you know, kind of the barn baby. At one point, I had to tell people to stop giving her treats because she was getting incredibly spoiled and getting to be quite a brat. But she seems to have, you know, gone past that phase now. So you can't see it right there, but when I was laying over her back, I did have my legs up and the weight off of her back. So then I thought I'd just give her a little break. After her break, I put the stirrups back on, put my helmet on. I was getting a little bit of harassment from the guys on the hill, saying they were waiting to see me get bucked off. So I had to give them a little attitude back, but that's what that was. But here I just want to put some weight in the stirrup. She's a little bit bugged now that the stirrups are back on again because they're kind of flapping around and bouncing on her. So she's being irritated by that. She's having a hard time holding her feet still. And so I thought, well, let's move her feet a little more and let her just get over that. And then I realized that if she does get upset, I probably don't want her running over the stool or having the stool involved. So I thought, well, let's hop down and let's just let her move a little bit with those stirrups and get the stool out of the equation. So, and then I'm gonna hop down there. See, she's still moving her feet. And I'm realizing, I think she's bugged by those stirrups, and we better do a little more work on that. So, hop down, take the stool out of the equation, and let her move a little bit and let those stirrups bounce. And you know, I had the stirrups long. They are kind of bumping her elbows. I'm sure it's not comfortable. Probably could have shortened them up a little bit so they weren't actually bumping her elbows, just maybe bumping her sides. But she just had to be able to feel that and just get over it, because she's just going to have to learn to ignore a lot of things. You can see she's getting agitated, and her first response is, why don't I jump on top of my handler? So I had to back her up. Really wasn't interested in wearing her out going around in circles, and I could tell that she was tired of going around in circles. I was just waiting for her to kind of calm down and slow those feet down. And so I just kind of walked away and went to the stool and let her follow me over there. And at this point, she was more than happy to come stand quietly next to the mounting block and let me pet on her and rub her and lay on her and just kind of have a little break, because this was actually comforting to her. And I'm putting my foot in the stirrup for the first time, just a little bit of pressure, and then took my foot out. She wanted to be so close, she was actually getting a little too close to the stool, so I backed it up a little bit rather than just trying to make her be in the right spot. And here I'm realizing already that the saddle is just not going to take a lot of weight without slipping. She has a really round back, and I wanted to give her, a little extra padding, so I have a gel pad under there. I think it's an Ogilvy pad, and it just is slippy. I also have a shoulder relief girth with elastic on both sides, and for this kind of stuff, getting up and down, and her round back, it probably isn't going to be the right combination to get this job done. But it was a start today. You can see she got a little upset, had to run around a little bit, and then come back to the situation. So as I'm putting weight in the stirrup, I'm realizing the saddle is just slipping. She's not crazy about it. She steps away, but it wasn't bad. Probably would feel less weird to her if the saddle weren't slipping. Again, my goal was for her just to accept a little pressure calmly. Just trying to put pressure in there and get off and not have the saddle slip off to the side and scare her. She was getting just too close to the mounting block. So I decided, let's take the mounting block out of the equation. Let me just do this from the ground, see how far I can get without the saddle slipping too much. Have her getting used to me jumping up and down by her side, which I think I have done before. She obviously doesn't care about that at all. So as embarrassing as it might be that I was wearing jeans that were not very stretchy, and I have an SI injury, and so I get stiff in the hips, all that jumping around to get to her side is actually good for her. And there I just tightened the girth, the very last hole, which is the tightest I've ever had a saddle on her. I mean, it was pretty darn tight, but I just didn't want that thing falling over. And so that was great. You know, I had all my weight up there, and she stood still, and she was calm, and her face looked calm. Okay, so here we go on the off side, so you guys can laugh at me trying to get my foot up there in the stirrup. This is my bad hip. But you can laugh all you want, because I can get on from the ground on both sides on my 17 two-hand horse. So part of it is the jeans. I'm going to blame it on the jeans. So when she started moving around, my goal was to keep hopping with my foot in the stirrup until she stood still, even though the saddle was slipping a little bit. So I did. I just waited until she decided to be still. Then I took my foot out of the stirrup, because I didn't want her to think that if she moved around that I would quit. She got her reward when she was still, and then she let me hop up, and I had all my weight in that stirrup. So I was happy with that. So that time, even with all of my bumbling around, she didn't move, so I was pleased with that. And then I think she's getting a little over it. She's a little crankier when I come back to the left side, and I'm realizing I probably need to start wrapping up for the day. So since her feet are moving more than they were earlier on in the session, I'm getting from her that she's just done. She's had what she can take today, and so I just had to stick with it until her feet were still, and I got to a good stopping point. Her feet were still. I put weight in the stirrup, and I got off. And that was enough for today.